I think it's time to discuss a little project that's been going on back here. It's a radio type experiment, but I probably, in order to kind of clarify what the hell this thing is, I should back up to how I was introduced to it. So many moons ago, back in the 90s, a friend of mine named Ben Scora, really interesting dude, we were talking about the paranormal and whatnot, and I'm like, man, would it be really cool if you could like talk to the dead like a telephone? He's like, you can. What the hell are you talking about? You know, you could talk to the dead. He's like, no, there's this system called Spiricom. He had an original cassette tape of the communication. He had the transcript. He had the blueprints on how to build the device. And I'm thinking, okay, well, and he let me take it home and go over it. It became a slight, I don't know, I don't even know how to put it. I don't want to say a religion of some kind, but I took it to heart. You know, I'm like, man, maybe, just maybe, after listening to this cassette tape over and over again, and I saw their process and the blueprints, I thought, wow, it seems simple enough, maybe, right? Real skeptical about it still, but it became kind of like an obsession, but to the point where I could never try out the system because the way it's designed, it's very loud. So anywhere I lived, I was living with somebody, and this is a kind of a system you got to keep running all day long. It's just not practical. Even if you're living in an apartment alone, I mean, your neighbors are going to hear this system running. So it sucked. You needed a lot of isolation. But I wanted to try the system out at the Grove. In order to do that would require a significant amount of heavy equipment, to some degree at least, if you go according to their original plan, original setup. And to even do that, let's say in the cemetery itself, you would be bothering every single visitor. It would be just completely annoying. And I'll give you some samples of what it kind of sounds like. So I kind of made a temporary backpack version of this thing, just because I feel like, well, one day, you know, somebody came across the material and I thought, oh man, Spiricom's fake. Oh man, it looks like it might have some fraudulent, you know, activity going on with this thing. Still, something didn't seem right. So I'm like, it was a complete mess for me. And somebody asked me one day, did I ever hear of the system? I'm like, yeah, but there's this like corruption involved, it seems. So I just kind of gave up on the idea. You know, why bring it out to the Grove and blast this thing and try for it? However, details yet to be announced. I took a similar approach to the Spiricom system out here. Again, approach, and we've had success. I'm not going to say it's dead people. I'm just saying we have success. However, it would be irresponsible for me to not at least try the original Spiricom setup. So yeah, that's where I came up with this backpack approach, and I would just come out here once in a while and try it. So far, there's been no success with the original version of the Spiricom. So I'm going to give you a little sample of what it just sounds like. It's nothing fancy. Maybe I should provide some links so you can download the original Spiricom material. I should probably even cut in some clips of the original Spiricom system and the person who was operating it, the person who funded the project. For me, it's an extremely interesting situation with this whole Spiricom thing. So I'm kind of back reliving it. I think there's some validity to this thing. But of course, it would be nice to use the original system and get some success with it out here at the Grove. Even if we don't get success, this other approach based upon the Spiricom system it works. It works, but it's complicated. I'm making some very wild claims here, but we are having success. We'll see if we can get repeated success. But there are responses that are, to me, beyond a shadow of a doubt. What's going on is real. So anyway, I'm going to cut to it and get into some Spiricom stuff, and hopefully you enjoy it and look into this, into the history of Spiricom some more. idigitalmedium.com. I've spoken to the owner of that. Very cool guy, pretty badass guy. He's got some cool things going on. Hopefully, Keith, you keep it up and keep pulling out some more of that, especially that Spiricom material. I love looking into it, and yeah, just keep doing what you're doing, man. Have fun. Here we go.
Good morning. Sorry to have kept you waiting. I'm Bill Tiller, and I have been asked to stand in for one good friend, Bob Jeffries, in order to introduce to you another good friend, George Meek. I'm a professor at Stanford University, and although I have a long-standing avocational interest in the field of study George will disclose to you today, I know very little about the technical details and only learned yesterday of the actual discoveries to be revealed by George and his associates. Now, although one could say that this type of data might be faked, my 12 years of experience with George indicates a man of extremely high integrity and commitment to truth. As an engineering graduate of the University of Michigan in 1932, George became a specialist in the field of thermodynamics. He designed air conditioning devices for the Pentagon building in 1940, and as a collaborator of Willis Carrier, developed air conditioning installed in a high percentage of the post-war multi-story buildings in Washington. He was a technical advisor to Averell Harriman in London in World War II. After the war, he conducted his own consulting engineering business. In the 18 years before he retired, Swedish industrialists and a banking firm paid him to make 46 trips to Europe to help supervise their research laboratory. During this period, his own inventions were patented in many countries, including one in the USSR. In 1970, George left his highly successful professional career to spend the remainder of his life in research into the basic nature of man. For this purpose, he has traveled all over the world and built up a network of perhaps 36 colleagues in many sciences, psychiatry, psychology, parapsychology, medicine, and religion. He and his wife, Jeanette, operate a research facility in Franklin, North Carolina, under the name Metascience Foundation. They hire consultants as needed rather than building up a permanent staff. George has published several books on his research as listed in the press packet that you have. These are now being translated into other languages. And now, 12 years into his self-directed research, he is ready to announce a major breakthrough. It is my pleasure to present to you George Meek.
Thank you, Bill. Good morning. Thanks for coming out. We have chosen Easter week to make this announcement for reasons that will shortly become apparent. For many Christians, our findings may be one of the most significant items of news in 2,000 years. The findings I am announcing today are truly fantastic and far out, but I can assure you that they are pure science, not science fiction. After 10 years of research in this particular field, Metascience Foundation is pleased to report 2 historic accomplishments. For the first time, we have electronic proof that the mind, memory banks, and personality survive death of the physical body. Our proof consists of many hours of conversations with some among the so-called dead. Second, an elementary, and I stress the word elementary, an elementary start has been made toward the perfection of a communication system that should someday permit those living on Earth to talk with persons very much alive on higher levels of consciousness. The system will use electromagnetic and etheric energies, and it should carry telephone-like conversations, and perhaps someday provide video transmissions. We call our equipment Spiricom, short for Spirit Communication. It is fully described with photographs and wiring diagrams in the technical manual, which is in your press kit. To achieve the results reported today, we combined electronic technology with certain unusual psychic, or as we prefer to call them, etheric energies, such as those used by our research associate, William O'Neill, who is sitting here on my left. At the present time, Bill is the only member of our team who possesses such energies to the required degree to get the quality of conversation that you will be hearing this morning. Let me now play for you one of the excerpts from our conversations with the so-called dead.
Yes, sir.
What's wrong?
Nothing's wrong, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. I'm just adjusting the frequencies.
No, I say you're right very well. By the way, William.
Yes, sir.
You know that telephone numbers I gave you?
No, sir.
Why not?
Well, Dr. Mueller, those are unlisted telephone numbers.
That's correct.
All right, now if oh boy, even though I give, when they answer and I give the code, even then, sir, wouldn't they wonder, maybe there's another code or something, and considering what they're involved in.
Don't worry about that.
Yes, but I do, sir. I do worry about that, sir. That one fellow especially, sir, that, you said he has a Q clearance?
That's correct. Secret.
Yes, secret. Q clearance. Supposing they found out it was me, okay? And they wanted to know how I got a hold of the unlisted telephone number. Now, who would believe where I got these unlisted? Oh boy.
Don't worry about that, William. You have nothing to worry about in that respect.
Well, I don't know, sir.